Hello everyone, my name is Jason, and in this video I'm going to show you how to solve for a linear regression. So you can see here we have our formula, and we're going to create a linear regression equation that allows us to predict based on our raw data. So here we have two variables, x and y, and both these variables are continuous, which allows us to do a linear regression. And so in this case, I'm not going to be testing the significance of the equation or calculating a correlation coefficient. We're just going straight from the data to a final equation. And you can see here my list of formulas. We're going to be using these formulas in order from top to bottom. So this is how I recommend you have your page. You write these formulas down in this order so that you remember the order to use them in. And if you've seen my videos, you know I generally set things up in order as well. Here we're going to be solving for this information, our descriptive statistics, first, and then we're going to get right into solving for the formula. Now the first thing I always do is I always solve for n, because that's the easiest one and you're going to need to use it for a lot of different things. So before I get into this part here, I'm going to solve for n. That's my first step. So n is just the number of data points we have. So in this case we have x is 0, y is 4, x is 2, y is 1, x is 8, y is 10, so on. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 data points. So I'm going to put a 5 right there. So now we know we've already solved. You can see n up here and n here and n here. So we're going to need to know n. So that's important. Now we can move over to our descriptives. Here we have the sum of x. So that's just the sum of each of these values. So 0 plus 2 plus 8 plus 6 plus 4. That's going to give us a grand total of 20. Let's do that for y. 4 plus 1 plus 10 plus 9 plus 6. That's going to give us a grand total of 30. Now we solve for the mean. Now the formulas for the mean is up here. These are the first formulas we're going to be using. mx is the sum of x divided by n. My is the sum of y divided by n. So in this case, we're just going to take 20 divided by 5, and you see we have n over here. And that's going to give us a mean of 4. For the mean of y, we have 30 divided by 5. That's going to give us a mean of 6. Moving down, here we have sum of x squared. So all we're going to do is we're going to square each of these values and then add up that total. And you can do this all on your calculator in one shot. So, for example, here we're going to do 4 plus 64 plus 36 plus 16. It's going to give us grand total of 120. And we'll do the same for the y values. Here we have 16 plus 1 plus 100 plus 81 plus 36 equals 234. Now I did the summing up on my calculator, but I did the square in my head. So if you didn't know what I was doing there, I was just squaring each of these values in my head and then inputting that into my calculator. And then I summed them all up. So finally now we have to calculate for Ssx and Ssy. And this is where things get a little bit more tricky. So I'm going to actually, in this little space I left here, I'm going to solve for first Ssx. This is sum of squares x. And you can see by the formula, we have to put 120 subtracted by the sum of x, which is 20, squared over n, which is 5. And then I do this in my calculator in this order. So I'll do 20 squared equals divided by 5 equals 80. And then that's going to give us a remainder of 40. Now I'm going to put 40 in here because we've solved for it. I'm going to do SSY. SSY is 234 minus, pardon me for the sort of room here, running out of room. So we're going to put 30 squared over 5 as well. And that's going to leave us, what's 30 squared divided by 5 is 180. So we got 234 minus 180, and that's going to leave us with 54. Okay, so I'm going to throw in 54 right here. All right, good. So we filled out this column here. Now we got to fill out this column right here. So this is x times y. So 0 times 4 is 0. 2 times 1 is 2. 8 times 10 is 80. 6 times 9, what's that? 54? I think it's 54. 4 times 6, 24. So now we've solved that. We just have to sum it up. So 2 plus 80 plus 54 plus 24, it's going to give us a total of 160. All right, we're on our road here. Okay, if there's anything here you didn't understand, please go back and take a look. Again, all of our formulas that we need are in order here, right? I put everything in order. We're going from top to bottom. So now we're at SP, and now we're going to need to look at our formulas here. SP is the sum of xy minus the sum of x times the sum of y over n. So here's our sum of xy. That's going to be 160 minus, now we have sum of x, which is 20, multiplied by the sum of y, which is 30, over n, which is 5. And I've left one more space here so that we can actually solve this. 160 minus, I'm going to do that stuff in the brackets or in the numerator first. 20 divided by 30 divided by 5 is going to give us 120. So when you solve for that, we're going to be left off with 40. So SP is 40. Let me just erase this. Okay, SP is 40. Now we solve for B. Now you can see it's the next formula here is SP divided by SSX. Good, so we have that information now. 40 divided by SSX. Bring that up from down here. It's 40. So B equals 1. And finally, here we have, well, almost finally, A is my minus BMX. So my is 6 minus B, which is 1. And then mx is 4. These brackets are just letting you know that these are two different numbers. So in this case, we're multiplying by 4 by 1. So 6 minus 4 is going to leave us with 2. Whoops, I almost filled in my my formula here. Okay, so we have a equals 2. Finally then, we have our formula. Y equals bx plus a. All we got to do is plug in our numbers. Y equals b, well, b is equal to 1. X is our variable x, plus a is 2. So if I were to write this out now, y equals x plus 2, and we put the little hat here, just to let you know that this is an equation, a linear regression equation used to make predictions about from our data. You can see we've solved the equation. Just so you know, the 2 is the y-intercept, and the 1, which is hidden here, is our slope. Okay, so in another video, I'll show you how to graph these types of equations. But for now, this is just how you solve for the equation. Now, if you want, I suggest that you go back to when I started this, write out all this stuff on a piece of paper, write out all these formulas on a separate piece of paper, and then try and go through this over and over and over again, using the same data or different numbers. Keep the numbers simple. But go through this over and over and over again, and then you'll never forget it. You'll be able to solve any problem related to linear regression. So thank you for watching, and stay tuned for my next video. Cheers.